Huzzah and well met once again, brothers and sisters in battle. Today we don our armor and take up our arms against iron poverty. Yes, that's right. I am finally sharing the iron farm with you. Now, this iron farm is based originally on a design that I learned from Prowl. I will link their channel in my description. Credit where it's due, after all. But I call it my own design because I've modified it to have almost 3 times as many villagers for a trading hall, which is probably going to change drastically in 1.21. But if you're quick and get them in now, you can have a trading hall that still works in 120, and possibly it will continue to do so after the update if you grandfather your world in. So, anyways, start out with a stack of 6 hoppers. You can see one, two, three, 3, 4, 5, and then the sixth will be right here. We're going to go just on top of that top hopper, get yourself some temporary blocks, break that one out, upper slab, break that block, and then replace the one. Your platform up here is going to be 8 out from your hopper. So 8 in both directions for a total of 17. 8 vertically, or the along the z-axis and the x-axis. That way you have a 17 by 17 platform. Then you're going to step up 1 block. This is hard to see because I've added the water already. 5 blocks further, and then step up 1 block and put a lip there. Make your corners look like this. And we'll place water in there. Do not place water here or here. But fill in all along the rest of the lips, and what you'll end up with is a spawning platform where everything is pushing right down to that hopper. Then we have to build ourselves what's sometimes called a lava blade. So we'll start with a sign on our slab, and you can stick a sign to a sign, and they will float, which is pretty helpful. Also, these won't burn, so you don't need to worry about what kind of wood to use, because we will be pouring lava over top of them. So this part's fairly easy to understand. I will tell you about this next part as we do it, so it makes a little more sense. All right, we wanted to, well, actually, let's turn this back off. I could not figure out why the golems wouldn't spawn in the last take of recording this video, and it's because I had mob spawning turned off, not because of daytime. We may have to change that back yet anyways, but for now, it's fine. Make sure you have mob spawning turned on, otherwise this farm won't work. Come to this side, place a floating sign out here, and then we're going to face perpendicular to the way we just placed that sign. Stick this one to the face, and one more. Now, come to this edge. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You will have to be crouch placing these. You don't need to write anything on them. You can just back out of this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4 signs. Now, this one counts as the number 2 sign on this side, so we'll only be able to place this one final sign. And we'll just leave that right there for you. We've essentially built ourselves a bowl, and it doesn't look like it, but trust that this will work out. You will have to crouch place and pour your bucket of lava on the top of this middle sign, the first sign that we placed on our slab. That's our source lava. Ta-da! So now when the golems are pushed down into that, they will start to burn. You will also get cats that fall into there or spawn in the pool, so you'll get some string. Iron golems will drop iron, obviously, and poppies. So you might want to put a sorting system in underneath these 5. This is just for dimension's sake. You'd want to build this higher up into the sky or higher up above a chamber where all of your things can come down and you can retrieve them from a box. It can be a simple dirt room with one treasure box, or you can be elaborate like I tried to be and build a sorting system and an automatic composter, all kinds of fun stuff. So, what do we need to spawn iron golems? Well, we need villagers. So, how we're going to start with that is to build these beds. Now, I did say that this is modified from a version of this that Prowl called the Unbreakable Iron Farm. It's not unbreakable. Not 100% anyways. I will quickly show you how our beds are going to look, but I have to be careful that these villagers don't or are not able to actually get into these beds, because then they will die when they wake up. So, to get started, I will run through this very quickly so this video doesn't become super long. Build yourself a ring around the second hopper down, 1, 2. That way the beds can go on top, but you can't stack a bed on a bed in Minecraft. It won't let you. So we have to build from the top down. Then we're going to add another 2 rings all the way around. And as you're placing these beds, I'm using black and white beds so that you can easily see where the pillow is. You want to try and keep the head of the bed or the pillow of the bed as close to the center as you can. Now that's somewhat relatively speaking. You'll see how it works as we're building these. But that keeps our golem spawning area as concise as possible. We don't want them to be able to spawn too far out, because then they'll spawn outside of the pool that pushes them down into our lava trap. Each of these layers, you'll do this layer twice. We'll do this final ring here. This is actually 40 beds. So that's worth 40 villagers, and this is technically enough for an iron farm right now. You could not add any more beds, and you would get a working iron farm. If you want more, which I did, that's why I designed this one to have as many beds as it does, you can add another layer just like this. And I'm not going to show you that. All you need to do is move down and build your ring around this hopper and repeat that process. When we get to this bottom one here, so imagine that we have beds here blocking this up, we're going to come down to this hopper and build our ring around it. And then, these are smaller platforms with only 12 beds apiece. But this will net you a grand total of 116 beds, which might cost you a lot of sheep in survival mode. But the most expensive part of building this farm is just the hoppers to begin with, and you can make a working farm with fewer hoppers. You could have the items drop down into a hopper. You might lose some of your items, but that's up to you. I would rather not risk my items being lost and then have to go back in and try and build hoppers into such a thing. But anyways, so you have your 12 beds. We're going to do that for all 3 layers here. and I'll show you how that looks over in the more finalized version of this farm. But each time you'll take out your platform, you'll move the platform down by one, and sorry about that, make sure I lost my train of thought there. You'll end up with 3 layers like this, 2 layers like that one, and that will be your 116 villagers' beds. The lighting here is not necessary. In survival mode, though, it does get very dark underneath. You could make yourself a mob spawner while you're working on this, so you have been warned. If you're in hardcore mode, you might accidentally build yourself a creeper farm and end up blowing away your whole world, which would be no fun at all. So, as you can see, this is our working prototype now. Down here, we have our villagers. Villagers cannot operate fence gates, use those to keep them in. If you've seen my crop farm video, you've seen that it's pretty easy to put a villager in a boat and pull them around with a lead. There, I do have a lead. Just attach that to the boat. We won't fly so that we can just do this and very gently tug them along little by little. It's easy enough. Once you have 2 villagers in here, you can give them a bunch of food and they will breed until all the beds have a body to them. They won't overpopulate the farm. They will continue to go until they run out of food. So just keep giving them food until you have all of your villagers. Then what you are going to do is wait for them all to grow up and then place down profession blocks that you want them to have. They will, just like this, sort themselves to the profession block that they want. Oftentimes they will jump on top of the said profession block. Sometimes they'll get stuck behind another villager who was socializing with them. But this will be the most frustrating portion of building this farm, is these darn villagers. Without letting them get to the beds, I will show you very quickly. We can have a look inside our column. You can see our 2 wider layers of beds up above and see the 3 layers of beds beneath. Don't let them get in the beds because they will get out in a strange area and they'll be shunted to their heads inside of another block and they will suffocate. You'll cause yourself all kinds of headaches with that. So, see how this guy is looking down at his feet while standing on his chosen profession block? Nudge. And then you break them in there like they're trying to steal your Amontillado. If you even have a cask of Amontillado. But then there's going to be a willing participant in your trading hall. You can choose whatever profession you'd like. You can even change it while they're standing in there. I'll show you. We'll get a barrel. Say you want a whole bunch of fishermen. He's going to make a liar out of me. Because that's not his profession block. Somebody else became a fisherman there for a moment. See, he's looking at his feet. I did not check for that. If they're standing on the profession block and looking down at the profession block, then you know it's theirs. So we'll do this again. They will try to walk out. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. They are attaching themselves to different blocks. Not a big worry. Like I said, the villagers will be the most frustrating part of this whole experience. I have too many profession blocks, not enough villagers. They will eventually sort themselves out. You just have to be patient. They are frustrating to the extreme, like this right here. This guy is behind this profession block, even though his friend was already blocked in. It will just be an enormous headache. So, You will repeat the floor pattern a second time directly above them. Once you have them bricked in, this floor goes right over top. It continues the column, the alcove for them to be in. You'll brick over top, and that will complete your farm. The villagers can have a lot of trouble navigating stairs to get to their profession blocks. They will stand underneath and stare upward. You'll have to do a lot of pushing and shoving. Once you have 20 adult villagers with jobs, you will begin spawning golems and get iron. We don't currently have any. You'll see that we have some cats up here. That's fine. They will drop string when they die. Um, keep going until we find one of the village fools. I don't recall what they're actually called, but one of these, a green shirt. They will not ever give themselves a job, so they do not get to participate in these iron farms. Get rid of them. They also don't work for crops either, so you won't use those on your regular farms. This is really all there is to building an iron farm. They're actually really simple. The problem is getting all your villagers in place. It's up to you how you want to divide them among professions. There's quite a few professions depending on what you want to trade in your trading hall. That I can't predict for you. I prefer to have a ton of librarians and to spend all the time it takes re-rolling their trades so that I can get all the enchantments at their cheapest. There is in the wiki a formula for determining the cheapest price to get on an enchantment, so you have some homework to do if that's what you want. But it only takes 20 working villagers to begin spawning golems. As I've said before, this farm supports up to 116 villagers, minus a few for a doorway to get in and out, depending on how elaborate you want to be or how simple you want your door to be. You can have as many, technically, you could have 11 golems spawned at a time. I've never actually seen that happen. I've been using this iron farm for almost a year since I built it in my survival world. I think the most I've seen is 8 golems at one time in the spawning pool. So, without wishing to make this video take any longer than it had to, I am Dominic Whitefire, your White Sun Paladin, and I'm off to my next adventure. I hope you're blessed on your next quest. I hope to see likes, comments, subscribes, share them with a friend. I was happy to do this video, and the mob farm is coming soon, but you might as well have the iron farm ahead of time because the mob farm takes a lot more iron. So, until next time, be blessed on your next quest.